Last week we took a look at Superhot, so now let's take a look at Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. If classic Resident Evil games are rooted in zombie films like Night of the Living Dead, Resident Evil 7 is more of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The long-awaited addition to the Resident Evil franchise, Res 7 takes some big risks with the long-running horror series. But even as some succeed and others fall flat, this new first-person take on the formula wisely remembers the source material that made it famous to begin with and expands on it greatly. Res 7 is a survival horror adventure filled with tense exploration and careful item hunting. Not solely the action that made its predecessors memorable, but don't worry, there's plenty of that too. The atmosphere of Resident Evil 7 is the strongest the series has seen in a long time, and that's owed entirely to the plantation in which you're trapped. Despite feeling a bit repetitive at times, especially in regards to boss fights, the game feels fresh and engrossing throughout playthroughs. Weapon handling feels as snappy and satisfying as any Resident Evil game, and easy to navigate menus make crafting quick and easy as usual. My only minor gripe with the game is in the boss fights. Without spoiling anything, there's about 7 boss fights, but only 3 different bosses. You literally have to fight one guy 4 different times without much variance in the fight, save for the final encounter. The fights aren't bad in any sense of the word, but are lacking in diversity. Overall, I give Resident Evil 7 Biohazard an 8.5 out of 10. Res 7 is a more than worthy addition to the Resident Evil franchise and is definitely worth a buy if you're looking for a terrifying, action-filled adventure to explore. This is Ian Fried with Video Game Reviews. I'll see you next time.
Hi, this week on Guerilla Wolves Movie News, we're reviewing Kong, Skull Island. It stars Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, John Goodman, John C. Reilly, and Corey Hawkins from Straight Outta Compton. So Brie Larson plays an anti-war photographer who brings a fresh perspective to the storyline because she's conflicting views with the lieutenant colonel played by Samuel L. Jackson, who just got out of Vietnam, and they both have different perspectives on the Vietnam War, but also different perspectives on how they should handle problems on the island, like whenever they encounter a giant gorilla. That brings us to Tom Hiddleston's character, who is an ex-mercenary, and his job is to kind of track the island and help them navigate it. So the thing I liked about this movie a lot that stuck out to me was the way they choreographed the fight scenes between, say, King Kong and another animal on the island. It was really cool because it was like watching a choreographed fight between 2 people. You don't typically see that in movies like this. You think of a movie like Transformers where they might slow things down a bit and put everything in slow motion, or speed it up to where it's just hard to follow, and it's a blur of action, essentially, is what it is. And I liked that they didn't do that. They didn't take the easy way out. They really thought through their shots, and it really did pay off because I haven't seen anything like it in a movie like this before. I didn't think the acting was really bad. I think the actors worked with what they were written in the script. It's a very visual movie, which is what you expect from a movie like King Kong. You expect an action movie, sci-fi movie to be very visual. So a classic touch of King Kong movies is the empathy that you feel for Kong as a character. And I like the way they did it. It was a really cool idea. They didn't necessarily make him fall in love with the female lead, Brie Larson, or anything like that. However, she shows compassion to him whenever no one else does. Overall, I give this movie a 7.7 out of 10.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's sports segment. I'm Frosty, and today we're going to start off with the Final Four happening this Saturday, with first Gonzaga taking on South Carolina and Oregon taking on North Carolina. Gonzaga is favored to win their game against South Carolina, and North Carolina is favored to beat Oregon this weekend. Quiet!
Quiet.
This is Gonzaga and South Carolina's first ever appearance in the Final Four, and this is Oregon's first appearance since 1939. And for North Carolina, this is their NCAA. How many A's is there? North Carolina, though, this is their 20th appearance in the NCAA Final Four. So I'm just going to throw this out here, but I originally picked Florida and Kansas to be in the championship. I didn't make a bracket, but I just figured those 2 guys would go all the way to the championship, but that's not happening. Gonzaga has had a very surprisingly good season, going 36-1, while South Carolina, they are real underdogs here, going 26-10 during the regular season. Oregon 33-5, and North Carolina 31-7. Shut up! Even though Gonzaga and North Carolina are favored, I'm going to go out on a limb and say South Carolina is going to beat Gonzaga around 80 to 70, around there. And North Carolina, I'm going to pick them to win against Oregon about 75 to 70. And then on Monday's championship, I'm predicting that South Carolina beats North Carolina about 75 to 65. I just think it would be cool if we had a little battle of the Carolinas. So that's all I have for the Final Four news. In NFL news, the only big news lately is that the Oakland Raiders are now the Las Vegas Raiders, even though for the next few years they're going to still be playing in Oakland. So until then, they'll be the Oakland Raiders until they get their stadium built in Vegas. Also, Monday is MLB opening day. I'm sure none of y'all are going to be watching that with the NCAA championship going on. So that's all I have for this week. Until next week, I'm Frosty.
The snowman?
You're not.
Snow Woman, actually.
Okay, there's no way they're making it all the way to the Final Four.
Have you seen their three-point shooting? They're clearly the best team in the tournament.
Hey, I'll see you tonight.
Yep, see you.
Mike's, right?
Yep.
All right, see you.